Good morning, everybody. It is early on a Saturday morning and a little bit nippy as well, but there is a good reason that I'm awake this early, and that is because I'm heading up to London. But before I tell you why I'm heading up to London, I need to do one thing first. I get a caramel latte to go, please.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, please. Okay, that's better. Coffee acquired. I am heading up to London today for the Eurogamer Expo. You'll probably remember I actually went up to the Eurogamer, I think it was 2 years ago now, 2021. COVID was still a thing, and the event was a little bit disappointing to say the least. But we're back this year, and I'll tell you a little bit about who to expect and what we're going to be seeing as soon as I jump on this train. So after the disappointment of 2021, EGX appear to be back on form this year. They've got a ton of big names and big hitters, including Sega showing off some of their new Sonic games. They've got Nintendo showing off the new Mario game, and Atlas as well. They're showing off some of the new Persona stuff, which I'm super excited to see. So let's go grab my ticket and I'll show you around the show floor. Of course, this being a gaming expo, I did get some time to play on my Steam Deck on the way to the event as well. From this point onwards in the video though, everything is going to be voiceovers just because it was very loud and I really didn't feel comfortable doing a lot of this talking. After I grabbed my badge though, we headed into this holding pen area, and the first thing that hit me was just how busy this event is. I don't think I've ever seen EGX this busy. This was half an hour before the show actually opened. And when it did open, everyone started rushing in, and I had an opportunity to just soak in how big this event is. It is definitely double the size it was back in 2021, which is an advantage because there was just so much to see and do. My first stop on my gaming journey was a game called Billy Buster. It's been all over TikTok recently. It's been published by Humble Games, and it is basically like a Super Mario-esque 3D platformer, but everything was a musical, and it was just so much fun to play. The music was hypnotic. I'll chuck in a little bit of a trailer so you can listen to some of that music.
Through some ways to die. There must be something we can try. Pretty sure your death will be second to none.
After checking out that game, I had the opportunity to take a look at one of the bigger areas in the event, and that was the Sega booth. There were a ton of games here, including Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactics. Both incredible games if you love the Persona series. P5 Tactics for me just wasn't as entertaining, mainly because I didn't really enjoy the whole tactics thing. I unfortunately couldn't get any footage of the game in action, they wouldn't let me, but I'll throw in some trailers here. It was just as I expected it to be. If you enjoyed Persona 3 and want to replay it with better visuals, then you're going to love Reloaded. And of course, what would a Sega booth be without the Blue Hedgehog himself? Sonic Superstars was here. It's out in a couple of days' time, in fact, but it was nice to be able to play it at the event. I'm super excited for this one. It feels like a return to form for the 2D platformers, and being able to play it with my partner will be excellent. I cannot wait for this one. Local multiplayer, online multiplayer. It's just going to be a great game. The last two games on the Sega booth were the Yakuza games Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and The Man Who Erased His Name. I've never played any of the Yakuza games up till now. I kind of knew about the mini games, but I truly wasn't prepared for just how weird and wild this game is. I'm actually really excited to get into the series. I'm going to actually start playing them from Yakuza 0 all the way to the newest ones, because it was something. If you haven't played the Yakuza games yet, I recommend you do. It's weird, wacky, wild, and so much fun. Next up was the single biggest section of the show floor, and that was for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Nintendo brought only this game and they took up a massive amount of the show floor, but still queues were like an hour and a half to play this game. I can totally see why. When I eventually got round to playing it, I genuinely really enjoyed it. It was exactly what I wanted from a new Mario game. It was 2D platforming, but had these new fun mechanics, including the Wonder Stars and those new forms as well, including the elephant, which is surprisingly entertaining to play as. As you can see from this clip, I'm not very good at the game, but I can't wait to again play this one with my partner, because 2D platformers are the kinds of games that work well for people who don't normally play games, and I really want to get into playing gaming together. So this one is definitely on my buy list for this Christmas, even though I'm not very good at it. Outside of the big hitters, there were a ton of other games to check out as well, including Power Wash Simulator. This was the new Back to the Future DLC where you get to clean the DeLorean for whatever reason. Total War Pharaohs is Total War, but with pharaohs. It's exactly how I remember the original Total War games being, with Rome. Can't wait to play this one, really enjoyed the little demo that we had here. This was X4. This one was pretty interesting. It's basically like EVE Online without the online aspect and the griefing. I really enjoyed it, though it was pretty difficult to control. Apparently it works on Steam Deck as well, so it might be worth picking this one up. The Left Field Collection is exactly that, a collection of games from left field, which aren't fully developed games by big companies. These are tiny little indie developers, primarily university students I found, that were creating fun, unique and interesting games. They normally only had like one laptop with the game playing, but they all had these really fun, unique, charming gameplay mechanics that I'd never really seen before. It's well worth checking out the Left Field Collection if you have the opportunity. The Future of Play section was definitely the strangest section on the show floor. It was a range of different games with unique, weird and strange controllers. This one particularly kind of had you wiggling a stick to fire the gun in different directions. It was a cool experiment, but really I don't see it kicking off. The Retro Games and PC Land section really took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to spend as much time in this section as I did, but there was just so much here to see, including these kinds of arcade cabinets like the Robocop one and Pac-Mania as well. These were really fun and pretty quick to get into. They had a massive range of consoles, from these really old Amstrad ones to the Xbox 360, strangely. This took me by surprise because I don't think of this console as a retro console, but then I checked just how old it was and it was released in 2005, meaning it's 18 years old. This console is legally allowed to drink in the UK. And what would a convention be without a ton of different merchant stands? This one really caught my eye because it was just so bright and flashy. This stand basically sold everything LED and RGB, from backpacks to t-shirts, and these little clock style things. I really liked these. They were absolutely overpriced for what they are, but if you wanted to get that kind of thing, you could get it here on the show floor. You could also get the more standard things like books with D&D, the essential packs, the starter kits, loads of dice. There were die everywhere. And also these little dioramas. These were Pokemon dioramas, all handmade. I bought one of these actually because they were just so damn cute and well done. I was really impressed by these. If I find out if they have a website, I'll leave it linked in the description down below. These were the ones that I got, these little terrariums they called them. They had a whole D&D tabletop and card game section as well, so if video games weren't your thing, you could still have something to do here. This was Flesh and Blood. It was a little bit like Magic the Gathering, but with a few more interesting mechanics as well. I was really tempted to pick up one of these, but I just don't have friends to be able to play this kind of game with. So maybe at some point I'll pick it up. This was the life-size D&D, and it's exactly what it sounded like. It was life-size D&D. You got dressed up and you walked through this massive tent, which was a campaign. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do this because you had to sign up really early. There was Modern Warfare 3 here, and the queue was just non-existent. People have lost interest in this game, mainly because you can play the game at home right now. We of course had a ton of cosplayers as well. These two were my favourites. They were Mortal Kombat characters who would face off with each other, and also we got them stood side by side. There were a ton of different people all dressed up in a plethora of different characters, and it was quite the experience to walk around the show floor and see this. You had the corporate sponsors as well. I went over and saw Boohoo Man mainly because I work for the company that helped to build the Man gaming section that we're talking about here, and it was really nice to see it in action and see people engaging with it. This was actually for a esports team which appeared to have a cryptocurrency card that you spend normal cash on and you get crypto back. There was TikTok, wasn't really interested in this section. They were doing meet and greets with a load of different YouTubers like Tubbo and a few others as well. There were people checking out the Pico 4 here. That was really exciting. I haven't had a chance to try out the Pico 4 yet, so I look forward to giving that a go at some point, but the queue was just enormous for what was about 5 minutes of actual gameplay with the headset. Cyberpower PC were here as well with their big double-decker bus, showing off some of their PCs that they created. These things were really good looking systems, all really small form factor, and they just looked great. I mean, look at them. They also had a load of peripherals on sale, so if you wanted to grab keyboards, mice, that sort of thing, you could do it from Cyberpower PC here. Perhaps the more interesting section for me was something that they called the Hex Pods. These were pods that you could erect in your garden or basically anywhere and you were able to work in. Hexagonal, about 1.97 meters, I believe, just under 2 meters. And it was a lot more spacious than I was expecting it to be. You had this really big skylight coming in, so you got a lot of natural light. There was heating in there as well. I was genuinely blown away by how good this thing looked. 1, how easy it was to set up. 2, how cheap it was. 3, and 4, just how spacious it actually was. I didn't expect to be able to fit a full gaming rig in here, yet here we are. That is a full gaming rig and setup inside of what is essentially a small garden shed. Blumhouse were here showing off Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Van, giving out free pizza and some posters as well for the new Five Nights at Freddy's film that was coming out. We also had a staging area which showed off a ton of different tournaments, so if you just wanted to sit down, chill and watch some games, you could do so in the arena. I didn't get a chance to do this just because there was so much else to do. So there we have it, guys. That was EGX 2023. There was so much to do. I was really impressed by the show this year, just because there was so many fun things to do, so many different things to do. If you didn't want to play video games, you could go and play card games, you could go and play D&D, you could just sit down and watch some shows. If you went to the show and the event, why don't you let me know in the comment section down below what your favourite part of the show was, and of course get subscribed while you're down there as well. My name's been Robert, this has been Clue, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.